How did we get here? I mean, how did we, Homo sapiens, go from being just, well, another animal, to pretty much running the entire planet? That's the enormous question Yuval Noah Harari asks in his book Sapiens, and we're going to dig into the key ideas from his incredible journey through our history.
All right, first things first, let's start with a little dose of humility. The main point Harari makes, right off the bat, is that for most of our history, there was absolutely nothing special about us. Seriously, we had about as much impact on the world as a gorilla, or a firefly, or even a jellyfish. We were just one more species, minding our own business, trying to get by.
And the change, well, it's just staggering when you look at it. Picture this. 100,000 years ago, it wasn't just us. We were sharing the planet with at least 5 other human species. We were just one of the gang, a really minor player. Now, fast forward to today, it's just us. We're the only ones left, and we are, without a doubt, the rulers of this planet.
So what happened? What was our secret? I mean, it wasn't just about having bigger brains or being stronger, because, some of the other human species had that covered too. No, the answer, according to Harari, wasn't about our bodies at all. It was all about a revolution that happened in our minds.
And that mental revolution, Harari calls it the cognitive revolution. This is the big one, the first and probably the most important of 3 huge shifts in human history. It all went down about 70,000 years ago, and honestly, it is the key to unlocking everything that came after.
Okay, so what exactly was this revolution? It was the birth of something Harari calls fictive language. Now, this isn't just about telling lies. I mean, a monkey can sort of lie. It can shout, "Danger!" just to scare another monkey away from a banana. That's simple deception. But what we can do, what sapiens learned to do, is talk about things that don't exist at all outside of our shared imagination.
And this is where things get really wild. These fictions he's talking about, they're the absolute cornerstones of our world. Just think about it for a second. Gods, nations, money, corporations, even human rights. You can't physically touch any of them. You can't point to a corporation in the forest. They're all just stories. Incredibly powerful stories that we all agree to believe in.
And that right there, that's our superpower. Our closest animal relatives, chimpanzees, can't really cooperate in groups bigger than about 150. But because we can all believe in the same stories, the same gods, the same money, the same laws, millions, even billions of complete strangers can work together. That's how you build cities. That's how you build empires.
So this new superpower, this ability to tell stories, it didn't just stay locked up in our brains. Oh no, it spilled out into the real world and unleashed these massive changes that completely remade our lives and, in the end, the entire planet.
Harari basically frames our whole history around these 3 game-changing moments. So Act 1, 70,000 years ago, is the cognitive revolution. That's when we got our storytelling ability. Act 2, about 10,000 years ago, we used that power to create the agricultural revolution. And then Act 3, just 500 years ago, we came up with a new set of stories about progress and discovery and boom, the scientific revolution.
Okay, so what does any of this have to do with you and me today? Well, everything. Our entire modern world is built on these incredibly complex and powerful fictions, what Harari calls imagined orders. And the crazy part is, they feel totally real to us, but they only exist because we all collectively agree they do.
Let's take money. It is the perfect example. That piece of paper in your wallet or the numbers on your banking app, what are they really? On their own, they're worthless. Their only value, the only reason they work, is because billions of us believe they work. It's maybe the most successful story ever told, a system of trust that connects the entire globe. And hey, capitalism, that's another one of these huge imagined orders. Harari draws a really smart line here. Think about it. Wealth is just stuff you pile up, like a pirate hoarding gold. But capital, that's different. Capital is money you put back to work to make even more money. The whole system runs on this shared story, this collective faith in future growth.
Okay, so we've built these incredible civilizations. We've unlocked the secrets of the atom. We've even walked on the moon. We are more powerful than ever before in history. But, and this is a big but, Harari makes us ask a really uncomfortable question. With all this so-called progress, are any of us actually happier?
And this is a really tough pill to swallow. He actually argues that the agricultural revolution, the invention of farming, might have been a disaster for the average person.
Sure, our population exploded, but for most people it meant harder work, a worse diet, and way more disease than our hunter-gatherer ancestors ever dealt with. The book also dives into the modern science of happiness, and the findings are pretty fascinating. It turns out that, yes, money makes a huge difference, but only up to a point. It's crucial for lifting people out of poverty, but once your basic needs are met, getting wealthier and wealthier has a shockingly small impact on how happy you feel day to day. So, after this wild ride through 70,000 years of our history, Harari turns the spotlight away from the past and points it squarely at the future. He leaves us with some enormous questions about where we're going from here.
And really, this brings us to the core idea, the big takeaway from the whole book. All of it, our cultures, our laws, our countries, our values, it's all an invention. It's all part of an imagined order. A powerful story, a useful story, an essential story for sure, but still, just a story. None of this is hardwired into our DNA or dictated by the laws of physics. It all exists right here in our collective imagination.
Which leaves us with one final huge question. Our fictions, our stories, are what got us here. They're what allowed a pretty insignificant ape to completely conquer the world. So, what fiction will we write next? Because the story we decide to tell now won't just shape our future, it'll shape the future of every other living thing on this planet.